Okay. Okay. Sometimes we start talking about restoration of big things, but the things that we are facing every day are made of different scales. Big things, small things. How we put together the things. Okay, this is a study that I'm bringing on with my brother. I'm architect, he is chemistry. So we try to unify the two scales, from big scale to small scale. So we are talking about this strange story of this scholar, the Egyptian wood. I will basically structure the intervention in this way, explaining what is a color, a brief introduction to some category of colors. Then we will go to the Egyptian blue and this technique that is called VIL. Okay, basically, what is a color? The color is part of, let's call it a part of the matter that is composed. So it's basically linked to the reflection and absorption of the different wavelengths. So if we perceive a color, it's because there is a source of light with a certain wavelength, and the object absorbs a part of the wavelength and reflects another part. Now we have a sun here, but if we have another kind of source, that source will project probably a different kind of wavelength, and the reflection may not be the same. So this means that the impression that we have from a color is based both on the source, then, because if you don't have a wavelength, a complete wavelength, it's not, the reflection is different, and on the observer. So, this is the spectrum of wavelength. So, you see that the visible part is a very small part of the entire wave. So we see from the infrared up to the ultraviolet in the middle. Okay, but there are many things that happen in other wavelengths. For example, some animals can see in ultraviolet, some other can see in infrared. So this means that the concept of color is linked to the observer. Okay, we move on a different concept. So we can enlarge our visual potential by using some technique. In this case, we are using infrared on the left. You see that there is the foam that splits out heat air, and we see the heat air. On the other side, we see the bones inside the head, inside the hand. So we can see also in other wavelength. Okay? Now move on to stop. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Now move to the study of color. Okay. Color seems to be each equal to another, but in fact they are different in chemical composition and also in the process and in the technology. For example, we can roughly divide the color into three main families. Sorry, please. Okay, we can see from its origin they are made in mineral material, animal materials, or vegetal materials. For three examples. Okay. From mineral family, we have, for example, the ochres. The ochres are used since the past, in the prehistoric times, and are very, very spread. It's based on the ferrous oxide. So we have a lemonite yellow ochre or hematite red ochre. Another color we have here is it's an animal pigment. It's Indian yellow. Indian yellows is a filtration of urine cow, and that is filled with mango leaves. So it's a very strange way of refining a color. Another color is woad. Woad is a plant that is harvested and then boiled, and with the water, with this kind of mixture, you can dye tissue. You can use it also for painting, because it has many different applications. Which is the direction? Sorry. That's it. Good. No. And please. Okay. No. Okay. Start again. Okay. So we are talking about mainly physical difference, but we can say also that the pigments are not always available at the same time and in the same area. For example, here we have, for example, white lead. White lead is one of the most used color in the past, because it was white. It was very, very covering, and but it was used up to 1840, because it was very poisonous. In the 17th century, the King of France asked his chemist, his alchemist, to find a solution, because his painters were dying, because the white lead is very poisonous. So white zinc, oops, I don't touch anything. It's processed. Okay. Okay, that's it. So it was substituted by white zinc, and then in about 19th century by white titanium, that is more stable than white zinc. So nowadays we don't. If we go in a shop, we cannot buy white lead, because it's not anymore produced. So what doesn't mean this? That if we have okay, this is a kind of historical feature that characterizes this kind of color. This means that if I create a fake right now, I will probably not be able to use white lead, because white lead is not anymore produced. Again, it's okay. Okay, this is an X-ray. Sorry, this is an X-ray, and you can see, for example, the image on the left. It's a natural. It's in black and white, but it's a natural light. And on the right, we can see the X-ray. You see on the nose of the painting, or on the cover here, that there is a very dense white stroke or brush stroke. That is white lead. Because white lead has this property, because lead is very dense, so it will be white in radiography, just like the bone in the hand, because it's more dense than the muscles and the other part of the hand. So, okay, now we are going to the Egyptian blue, because Egyptian blue has some interesting particularities. So, okay, Egyptian blue was probably one of the first, or the first synthetic pigment ever synthesized from the 3rd millennium before Christ, and it is a silica calcium carbonate with copper solution, and cooked at between 800 and 1000 centigrade. Exists also in nature. Its name is copper rivaite, but it's very rare. So probably this kind of production happened for a fortune, just because the melting pot where they cook the glass were probably the same used also for mixing other kind of colors. And the mixer is, there is no solution for this. Okay. Was made with copper. So with the powder mixed together and the high temperature, this became this kind of blue. Okay, that is this one. And the story of the blue Egyptian, of course, started in Egypt, then and in Mesopotamia. But the strange thing is that when the Romans captured Egypt, the Roman Empire started mastering the art of making Egyptian blue. So during the Roman Empire, it was very spread because it was very cheap for the production. Then what happened? Then, of course, the Roman Empire, okay, the Eastern Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire fall down, and the Eastern Roman Empire stays for many, many centuries more. So we don't have yet trucks, but maybe in Turkey you have still, in later time, Egyptian blue. I'm not doing anything, so. Okay. Let's try again. Doesn't work. So this is an open call for if you have some thought about where can be Egyptian blue in Ottoman. Oh, okay, thank you. In Ottoman culture, we can try to analyze it. Okay. Okay, we move this. Okay. So also Egyptian blue has this particularly historical feature. Let's say that in the Middle Ages, the traditional way of producing the Roman Egyptian blue completely disappeared. So we lost the technology of Egyptian blue. And we collect again this kind of technology in the 19th century. But the main, for example, I'm talking at the moment with, about artifacts of Egypt and Roman artifacts. The kind of this kind of feature makes that we cannot have, for example, sarcophags with other kind of blue. Or we cannot have any kind of Roman artifact with, for example, cobalt, or because this was the main blue used in the past. So it's very useful if we have the technology to track it and for forgery, for evaluating the authenticity. Okay, so the properties of Egyptian blue is it's a mineral color, it's very stable to light, it's fine, we have a fine grinding that is not the same, for example, for cobalt blue. The cobalt is, you can have smalt, the smalt is another kind of blue, and it's larger. And it's easy to produce. We have these ER properties, ER properties, and we have some historical feature we already mentioned. The strange thing is that sometimes unpredictably, we find out some artifact that contains Egyptian blue, like this one. This is Giambattista Benvenuto, and this oil on wood in 16th century. So we reach this point. Okay. What is VIL? VIL is a technique to analyze Egyptian blue. And it's very effective because we can analyze Egyptian blue without picking, without doing any kind of analysis, direct analysis, just with what else? Ah, okay. This is the picture of the. I'll start with this. What happened? Which is the principle of the VIL? We already see this. The principle of the Egyptian blue, the importance of VIL, is that because normally we have this scheme, That is, we have the wavelength, we have the source, and we see the reflection. But this not happen with the Egyptian blue. If we have a special source with a special emitted light, the blue, the Egyptian blue, will emit itself another spectrum that is quite unusual in physics. For example, here we have some blue. You see azurite, Egyptian blue, smalt, ultramarine, and cobalt. And here we have the result with the technique of VIL. You see? All other colors have disappeared, while the Egyptian blue has light up. Okay. To obtain a VIL image, we need some special technique. We need first, we need a camera without an in-ear filter. Then we have to have some more filter to stop the incoming light apart from ear. And then we need a LED source or a flash modified. But it's very easy. I mean, it's a camera. We can modify this camera and modify the flashes, so it's cheap. This is the result. For example, here we have three photo taken with the natural light, with the UV light, and we see some feature more, and we have VIL. With VIL, you can see everything. I use some. Okay, you can see better. Okay, in this case, the sarcophagus was completely covered by a sort of degradation of the ground layer and the mud. With a traditional ER photo, we cannot see nothing. But with VIL, we can see everything that appears shining because the decoration were made principally with the gypsum blue. And because it's a light re-emitted, you can see here, for example, on the left side, you have a sarcophagus that was thought that it was a fake. But in the other photo, we can see the shining eyes under the eye that have been drawn. You see? The light one, the white one. So, this is the pointer. No. Can you point to the eye on the left? On the right, sorry. Can you point? The other one? Yeah, that one. Okay. You see that there is the shape of the eye under it, because the Egyptian blue re-emit infrared, so we will have this. Here is another example. These, I'm sorry that I don't have the other image with natural light, but these Ushapti are completely, the surface is completely lacking. So, but we have track of the Egyptian blue, so we have it shining. So the application for this technique is, first, a research application. There is a big part of the history of this color that is lacking. Secondary, of course, for restoration purpose, because if we have this kind of pigment together with the purple and blue we can see with this technique, so it can help to read hieroglyphics even if they are not appearing. The third, more important for everyone, is the verification of authenticity, because of this technique because of the technique of producing blue, Egyptian blue was not present at the time where we have the more part of the fakes, that is the early of 19th century and during all the time and during all the century, and this will make it visible if we have or not the Egyptian blue, that is the discriminant. Okay, the advantages are This technique is not invasive. It's just like taking a photo. It's not. We don't have to take samples. We can have this technique in real time, so we can have the result soon. It's cheap, and it can be used on different supports. I've done also on marbles. I've done this analysis on many other kind of supports. The disadvantage is that we can only use if we have Egyptian blue or Han blue or purple Han. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Teşekkür ediyoruz Sayın Nikola'ya.